Today I'm going to talk about a specific issue, and that is nothing but fumbling. Most of the people, they face difficulties in terms of understanding how they need to be fluent and avoid fumbling while speaking English. Now we face multiple situations in our life, and when we face these situations at that time, we are able to speak for at least 2 to 3 minutes or a few sentences. But apart from that thing, whenever you need to speak for more than 2 minutes or 3 minutes, what happens? You suddenly feel that you are running out of the sentences, you are running out of these words that you want to use, and you typically say that you have vocabulary issue. Well, I'm going to talk about certain things where you are going to understand the complete clarity. You are going to get that clarity today, that why fumbling happens and what is the real cause of fumbling when you try to speak with people, specifically in English, in different situations. So if I just ask you, when do you communicate with people when it comes to English in your life? Most of the time we interact with people at our workplace, as English is one of the language that we consider which is made for workplace communication, right? Now, every single time when you interact with people in English at that time, you need to focus on understanding few things. Try to speak slowly and don't rush and give spontaneous responses. I would suggest you to focus on listening first and then responding to people, instead of giving quick reaction. When you give quick reaction, you tend to fumble a lot. You must have observed this thing also. Now, I'll tell you a few things. What exactly the concept of fumbling? What is the issue of fumbling? Now, if I ask you one thing honestly here, and what is that particular thing? Just tell me one thing. When you speak your native language, don't you fumble when you speak your native language? It can be anything. You definitely fumble in certain situations, not all the time I would say, but in certain situations. When you fumble at that time, what happens exactly? You have your thought process ready, right? You are trying to say something, and in between that, what happened exactly? You were trying to focus on certain things, and suddenly another thought came in your mind and you were completely distracted, and because of that particular thing, that fumbling happened. So it's not the part that you did that thing specifically on purpose. You did not do that thing on your own, but it happened automatically, right? So we all are human. We all are humans. You need to understand this particular thing. We tend to fumble certain times. It happens with me. It will happen with you, and it can happen with anyone in any language. If you are thinking about language barrier, no, it is not the thing. You fumble in your native language, and you may also fumble in English also. So there is no issue in that particular case. Remember this particular thing and first clear this thing from your mind, that fumbling is not a major concern. It is not a major issue. I'm going to tell you some of these things, why you fumble and how you need to avoid that particular thing. Right? Now, why does it happen with you whenever you try to communicate with people? You just say certain things and you always become victim of that short conversation. You share some ideas, you just try to say a couple of sentences, and after those sentences, what you feel? You cannot speak ahead. You cannot speak more than 2 to 3 minutes. You can speak for a few minutes only. Now, whenever you try to structure your thought process at that time, see, I'll tell you two situations. When you speak on a topic and when you start your conversation with someone else, we will talk about these two things where you can avoid fumbling in your real life, right? Now, first, whenever you speak on a specific content or any specific topic, let's consider the situations like you are presenting yourself in a meeting, or you are delivering a presentation, or you are just speaking in the conference, whatever it may be, right? It can be virtual or it can be an offline session. Whenever you interact with people at that time, remember that you should be in a position to structure your content. If you are clear about the checkpoints of your content, believe me, you will never fumble. You will always maintain that fluency. Why? Because whatever that your mind has practiced enough, your mind has remembered those things, you will be able to understand them, and you can just understand those checkpoints. For example, you will just understand the initial part of the presentation, right? The beginning part, introduction, or whatever, maybe you can say that. After that, the moment you start connecting with the main topic, the moment you start connecting with whatever that you really want to share in that presentation, you automatically get the ideas. Your mind comes up with the complete thought process, and it becomes so smooth experience for you that you easily try to understand that, yes, this is the introduction part. Now I'm focusing on the major concern. If you are, see, most of the time we use simple present tense when we talk about certain facts and general truths. Note this point down. Whenever you talk with multiple people, you will always find simple future tense, and you will also use multiple things of the same kind of thing, right? For example, if you understand, now see, I'm using one conditional sentence here. If you understand this concept properly, you will be able to speak in a better way. I use simple present tense in the if clause, and then I use the another clause with subject plus will plus V1. That's it. You will be able to speak in a better way. Every single time when you structure your thought process in this particular way, you can avoid fumbling, right? Don't just keep that particular issue or that particular problem in your mind. Second thing I would suggest here in terms of improving your thought process, try to focus on the most useful tenses. I have covered this thing pretty well on day 2 and day 3 of the 5-day bootcamp. If you just go to the description of this particular session, you will be able to understand that you can keep these videos forever. I have shared those 10 videos with you. And after completing those 7 to 10 videos, after 1 week, you will also get certification of this particular course that I have already given you, right? So you'll get lifetime access to the application and you can watch these sessions anytime that you want. See why I'm telling you this thing? Because whenever you try to refresh your concepts, it is highly recommended that you need to focus on getting clarity of these concepts. And this is what I have done in just short span of time in this 5-day course. So you can get lifetime access to this 5-day course and you can definitely get advantage of this thing. And one more thing, make sure that you will make some notes. Whenever you make some notes at that time, you clearly understand these things, right? Now, another point, when you try to interact with people at that time, there is a specific thing that you need to understand. First thing, I told you that whenever you prepare a specific content or whenever you speak on the content, you need to create that content in a systematic manner. This is the first thing. Second, I'll tell you that when you talk with people at that time, the biggest thing that you can do here, the most important thing that you can do here is ask questions to people. Use polite requests and permissions. At the ending of the session, I'm going to tell you some useful sentences. You can use them right away after this session and you will be able to see that how confidently and how fluently you are able to speak, right? Because I always tell you one thing, focus on the formation of your sentences. Try to understand the meaning of that particular statement. When both of these things are clear, you can easily speak confidently with people. How beautiful it is. This is what you need to understand. Now, whenever you try to speak with someone at that time, if someone is asking you the question, try to understand. Most of the people, they make mistakes in tenses. They do not understand the exact statement. They do not understand the exact meaning of that particular statement as well. And because of that thing, they just try to react instead of giving the reply. How many people agree here that yes, sir, most of the time when it comes to communicating in English at that time, we react in that particular situation and we fail to respond properly. And that is the major concern of fumbling. If you just consider that there is a specific way, right? You are riding your bike on that specific way. And suddenly there is something that you will be able to see that the way is little crooked. You will not able to ride your bike properly unless you have proper control. But instead of that thing, if you just understand the situation that yes, there is a crooked road and I need to just understand that there may be a zigzag way or something like that. And if you just take control of your bike and if you balance well, you will be able to just pass that particular block. The same kind of thing happens when you try to speak with different people in your life. And for that purpose, what I recommend is try to learn, educate yourself, develop the perfect mechanism and try with people and speak with people. This is the most important thing. So remember that the way you ask questions to people, you will be able to understand that how confidently you are speaking. That is the most important thing, right? Now, when you ask questions to people at that time, they to answer you because you always play the role of a listener and a speaker whenever you are engaged in the conversation. Suppose I'm asking you some of the questions. Now, I will have two ways to ask the questions. Either I will use a verbal question that is yes, no type question, or I would use any specific WS type question where I feel that I need to get some information. Whenever you do this particular thing at that time, what exactly happens? You get complete clarity that yes, this is the yes, no type question and I just need to answer in this particular way. And remember, whenever you try to answer people at that time, I would suggest one more technique here that you can understand. Even if you are responding to yes, no type questions, verbal type of responses, let it be yes or no. You understand that after saying no, give the specific clarification. After saying yes, give the specific affirmation to the statement. Whenever you do this particular thing at the time, you automatically try to engage yourself in conversation while interacting with people in English. If you just try this particular thing, you will understand. I'll give you one example here. Are you trying to understand something important here? Now see, this is the important question that I have asked you. Consider that you are at your workplace and I have asked you this particular question. Are you trying to understand the different elements of this particular project? Now your response should be, yes, sir, I'm able to understand this thing in some way. You have really explained this thing properly. See, you have said the same response. You have not just said, yes, sir, I understand. You have replied the person in order to take interest in that conversation. If you just consider that there are two people, right? And I'm just interacting with them. I have just asked them that, is it possible for you to work on the project for a couple of, for more days? If I ask this particular question to someone in the same kind of way, you will be able to understand that, yes, sir, I can easily work on that particular project. Please give me some guideline and I need your support to complete the project within the timeline. If you just respond to people in this particular way, you will be able to understand. Now, if the first person responds in this particular way, that person will be recognized that, yes, this person has really a wonderful way to interact with people. On the other hand, if there is a person who says, yes, sir, I can. Even if the person has smile on his face, even if the person is responding politely, he's not focusing on answering that complete question. Are you getting my point? This is important thing that you need to understand. Now, if I just ask this particular question to someone, are you getting my point? Now, I expect that someone in front of me should tell me, yes, sir, I'm totally getting your point. It is really important that you are sharing here. When you engage yourself in this particular way, what exactly you are doing? You are understanding the question and you are responding properly by listening and by just thinking on that particular thing. It happens so fast that people do not really understand the difference between reacting and responding. When you respond someone, you understand first and then you reply that particular person. But the reaction is something that comes immediately, that comes spontaneously, right? And when you rush something, when you just try to do something in hurry, you tend to make mistake and you also tend to fumble a lot. I hope you are getting complete clarity so far about the idea of fumbling, about the issue that you face while fumbling, while speaking with people when you fumble a lot, right? Now, there may be a specific thing that we can consider that is the part of your mind, or we can just consider it's a part of your subconscious mind. What happens when you just try to interact with people? There is something that is running at the corner of your mind and you are also engaged in the conversation, right? Now, whenever you are engaged in the conversation at that time, you know that you are trying to give the complete attention, but somewhere your mind is somewhere else, right? So whenever you are in this dilemma, whenever you are in this particular situation, that you are just focusing on certain things at a specific time, and on the other hand, your mind is also thinking about something else. And suddenly when you try to speak on that particular issue, you will definitely fumble. It will happen for sure. And whenever you face this particular issue at that time, it's important that you need to gather your thought process. And whenever you are trapped in the process of fumbling, whenever this thing happens with you, you suddenly become conscious and you try to recall those things and you just try to respond and you just try to be completely super conscious and you try to respond to people. Have you seen this kind of people? You must have seen, right? Or it must have happened with you also in several situations. So to avoid these particular things, what I want you to understand, focus on structuring your thought process. This is the most important thing. When you structure your thought process, you get complete clarity. After that particular thing, when you try to understand that in order to respond to people, understand the situation and then respond. Try to work on your communication skills, how you are going to respond to people. If you work on these things, it will be easier for you to understand the situation, reply people with specific understanding, and this will definitely help you to avoid fumbling when you speak specifically in English. Most of the time you can try this particular thing. And it is important that you work on the you can work on the fundamental rules of English grammar. I would say that functional grammar. Make sure that you check the link in the description box and get lifetime access with certification to my 5-day course. There is nothing that you are paying here. You are paying small amount so that you can make yourself consistent. It is highly recommended that you need to train yourself. See, I believe that everyone has some kind of potential. You have some knowledge, but what I highly recommend is, even if you have some knowledge, it is important to fine tune it. When you fine tune your concepts, when you just make it foolproof, you get that clarity that yes, it works in this particular way. And come on, when it comes to understanding certain things, if you are facing some of the medical issues or health issues, what do? You go to the expert, who is nothing but the expert person in that particular health issue. You go to that particular person, you get consultation, and you work on that particular thing. So imagine that you are just paying for consultation, right? And you are getting lifetime support through my videos. I will be there with you to understand these things. And whenever you will start understanding some of these things through the video sessions that I have given in the 5D bootcamp, you will be in a position to refresh your memories again and again. If you feel that you are not able to understand the concepts, repeat the same bootcamp videos after 7 days or after 15 days. And you will be able to see that, yes, I was facing issue with this particular concept. Now I need to revise and I need to go ahead with the same thing. If you take constant feedback, you can avoid fumbling forever in your life because you feel confident when you interact with people. That is the most important thing. And you automatically structure your thought process in terms of understanding certain things while interacting with people. That is the important thing that I wanted to share with you. Along with this particular thing, when we face certain situations, when we interact with our seniors, when we interact with your colleagues, what I would suggest is you can note down some of the sentences, and that is the bonus part that I want to give you here. When you interact with your friends at that time, it's okay that you will make some mistakes. And most of the time, when we interact with our colleagues or when we interact with our friends and family members, we don't have any kind of issues. What we feel that it's okay if I make mistakes, there is no issue in that case. So that's the part of your casual communication. And when we speak in casual communication at that time, we don't even focus on understanding grammatical rules. Now, when we speak our native language, do we focus on each and every grammatical rule? Never, not at all. But on the other hand, when you try to speak English at your workplace at that time, and if you are making some mistakes, then that is not acceptable. For that purpose, you need to learn grammar. For that purpose, you need to educate yourself. And it is not necessary to learn so many topics in English grammar. Try to focus on understanding few of the concepts, get clarity about it, apply those concepts in your life, and try to focus on improving yourself every single day. Now, your efforts every single day play an important role in terms of improving yourself. Because you become conscious when you write something, you become conscious when you respond people, and when you just follow these particular things at that time, you improve your ability to process your thoughts, you improve your ability to communicate effectively with people, and you also improve your writing skills. In order to improve your writing skills, learning some grammatical concepts plays an important role. And when you do that particular thing, you automatically feel confident and you get clarity about understanding the same thing. Right? That's why it is mandatory to understand the same thing. And that is why I have taken this decision to give lifetime access to people with 300 rupees of discount with the link that I have provided here. And remember, if you go to the app, you will not get the discount. But if you use the link that is provided, you will definitely get the discount of 300 rupees for sure. So you can keep these videos forever in your life. And that is going to be the most essential thing. Now, few of the bonus thing that I want to tell you here. And what is that particular thing? See, couple of days ago, I shared one video. I went live and I just shared something regarding consistency. I also told you few of these things in terms of your fluency. And today I'm talking about how to avoid fumbling, right? Now, when you try to develop yourself at that time, we also learned about how you can just go ahead and understand your learning style. I also shared that particular video as well. But today I will tell you something as a bonus part in this particular session for a couple of minutes. And here, I want you to understand a few things. See, you get 24 hours in a day. If you just try to understand this thing, if you just do this SWOT analysis, you will be able to understand that I get 24 hours in my life and you just need to understand, just exclude 24 hours. In remaining 24 hours, you still have 6 hours to perform better in your life. If you spend at least 10 to 15 minutes and if you just try to understand how others speak, if you focus well on understanding the observation and your listening skills, believe me, you are going to understand lots of things about yourself. See, the tragedy is most of the people, they look at others and they don't look at themselves. Remember one thing. If you are looking at others for inspiration, that's totally fine. But if you are looking at others for comparison, then that is not a good thing. Remember, you are unique in the world, right? You have your unique style of speaking. And when you follow that unique style of speaking at that time, what happens with you exactly? You learn lots of things in your life. And that is the most important thing, right? When you try to understand certain things about yourself, the way you speak with people, the way you intonate your sentences, your rate of speech that you follow when you try to speak with people, and the way you influence people by speaking in your unique style is something commendable. See, people remember your style, people remember you. And remember, if you just try to improve your communication skills and if you improve your English at certain position, and if you start interacting with people with polite requests, proper yes no type questions, and if you respond to them instead of just reacting, you will be in a position to feel confident instantly that yes, I'm getting results. And remember one thing, as I only take action based trainings, my trainings are always filled with lots of action. Every single day you will feel something amazing that yes, I learned something and I need to apply this thing in my life. And when we do this thing at that time, we start getting results. The moment you start getting results at that time, your mind automatically starts working on the feedback. And how does it happen? Well, let me tell you a short thing here so that you will be able to understand. Whenever you get some kind of results at that time, your brain will release dopamine. That is nothing but the pleasure hormone. Whenever that hormone is released at that time, your subconscious mind will automatically get activated and it will be registered in your mind. That's how you learn different things in your life. The moment you feel confident when you speak a specific statement in English at that time, you feel something amazing from within. You feel that feeling of happiness. When you feel that particular thing, your mind registers those sentences. And that's how you develop multiple things. The same thing is applicable to certain thing in your life in terms of your bad habits. For example, I'm referring to getting late in the morning whenever you try to wake up in the morning and you end up with waking up at 9 a.m. or 10 a.m. in the morning. Your mind feels that let's sleep for 1 more hour. You feel that pleasant thing. You feel that feeling of pleasure to sleep more and more and more, right? If you are playing any specific game at that time, you will be able to understand that you are spending lots of hours to play that game in your mobile phone. You must be scrolling lots of things in social media. Whenever you do that particular thing at that time, what happens? Your mind automatically understands that you like that particular thing, right? And that's why it becomes the part of your automated habit. It becomes the part of your subconscious mind. But on the other hand, if you just try to understand that you can get this pleasure, you can get this feeling of happiness if you focus on your results to communicate better with people. Don't you think that the same thing can be registered in your mind and you will be able to focus on your productivity, your communication skills, and your language skills as well? If you believe that this is really going to happen, don't forget to check out the description link to get lifetime access to the 5-day bootcamp videos. And you will also get the certification of the same kind of thing. For all my 4-week members, I have already added the content as the complimentary part. You can check out that thing and you will be able to keep yourself consistent enough to use whatever the topics that I have covered in the 5-day bootcamp. At least do this thing for you, right? Until and unless you do something for you, it is not going to help you. Remember this particular thing. That is the most important thing that you need to understand, right? So try to understand whatever the tips and techniques that I have shared. Don't forget to understand the situation one where you just try to present a presentation or you talk in meeting or you are just interacting with someone in the conference. If you are following that particular thing, don't forget to structure the content to avoid fumbling. And whenever you are talking with multiple people, try to respond to people and not react immediately. Answer the questions in a proper way by understanding them. And try to be interactive enough whenever you interact with people. Just try to follow these things and I'm waiting for you to become a great speaker in your life. Well, that's it for the day. I will see you in the next session on upcoming days and that will be a really wonderful experience for all of you as well. So don't forget to subscribe the channel also to get the notification and everything. And yes, keep learning, keep growing. I will see you once again in the live stream with the new topic. By the time, keep improving yourself and keep speaking whenever you feel.